Hey, Boondockers, where are you staying tonight? I'm Jeremy Storton. I'm an advanced Cicerone, host of the Good Beer Matters podcast, and an occasional traveler. I'll be your host as we search for a great place to stay and a happier life on the road. This is the Roads and Stays audio magazine, the best 30 minutes you'll spend all day. Did you know that Roads and Stays is also a magazine? We cover RV news, personal stories, and keep you in the know on tips, discounts, and future events. So, what are you waiting for? Download Roads and Stays today. Well, welcome back everyone to the Roads and Stays audio magazine. This is episode 3, and welcome to Harvey the Alpaca's News Corner. This is where we share the latest RV news, blogs, videos, events. So subscribe to your newsletter and get updates like this straight to your inbox. In the lead story today, we talk with a really cool couple, Phil and Stacy from You, Me, and the RV, on how they finally made that step to give up their house and go full-timing in an RV. Both of them are also Navy veterans, and so they do a lot of charity work while they're on the road. And so we talk about that as well and the incredible work they're doing and how you can help. In the meantime, we've got a really cool story. If you are like me, you've spent time car camping and backpacking, you've probably spent lots of time, like me, doing laps around REI. But this is an RV podcast, so where does REI come in? Well, I'm glad you asked, because REI is now starting to dabble in the RV market with Airstream. The REI Co-op, or Recreational Equipment Incorporated, is one of the United States' largest outdoor recreation retailers. And now REI Co-op and Airstream have decided to collaborate in the outdoor market. One of Airstream's most compact and versatile models is the Basecamp, and it's getting a few new tweaks that are inspired by REI. The Airstream Basecamp model is already the Airstream choice for the most adventurous spirits, but now REI is taking it a step further in their partnership by adding even more sustainability features. The REI Special Edition Basecamp model offers up to 360 watts of solar power and two 100 amp hour Battleborn lithium batteries. It also includes the X package that gives it more rugged features like rock guards, solar window guards, and a 3-inch lift to get you further out into the wild. As an added bonus, you get REI badging, green accents, and a 25-piece REI product kit to make camping that much better. Subscribe to our newsletter to get updates like this straight to your inbox. Small towns scattered from sea to sea have a ton to offer, but accessing them isn't always easy. With Harvest Hosts and Boondockers Welcome, you'll have the chance to stay at the local farms, wineries, golf courses, private properties, and a whole lot more. The all-access plan gives you unlimited overnight stays with the largest and most fun RV camping network at 7,000 plus locations across North America, without any camping fees. One yearly fee is the same cost as 3 to 4 nights at typical campsites. So say goodbye to Wally docking and instead wake up on the farm. Well, good morning, Phil and Stacy. I've been looking forward to this kind of conversation because when I looked into what you guys are doing, not only are you traveling and living in awesome RV style, but you're actually have a mission that you're trying to serve as well. And so for me, I love having a purpose behind anything that I do. Whether I'm drinking a beer, eating some good food, or serving my community, it's like, I've got a purpose for this, and I love that you guys are approaching it from this standpoint. But before we go any further down that storyline, tell us who you are.
Who we are. That's such a broad question, right? Go ahead.
I know.
Well, I tell people all the time that we're RVers with a camera in our face. Stacy's the brains behind everything. She comes up with where we're going, the ideas for video content, for blogs.
In other words, I'm the workaholic.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so, Phil, you're the chauffeur, right?
Yes.
All right. I tell people,
Uber driver.
I'm just a guy that drives and does all the maintenance. To today I'm doing laundry. So that's my role. But
That's a
we
pretty
just
good gig, honestly.
Yeah.
it's not been a bad lifestyle for the last 4.5 years. We have truly met some amazing people. We've been to some amazing places, and we never started out with that in mind when we were doing the channel.
Yeah, we didn't know where it was going to come from. Just a little backstory for people who don't know. Phil is retired Navy. He served 27 years and retired. I'm a former nurse practitioner. As you know, with this life on the road, there's not as much time for that kind of job, which is good, because the reality is we're getting back a lot of time that we missed because Phil was gone a lot in his Navy career, and it's really has been a wonderful life since we've hit the road.
It must be nice, Phil. I'm going to speak to you directly. It must be nice if you get a boo-boo, a cut, a scrape, or whatever. You have your medical practitioner on board. But in a past life, having worked in medical, Stacy, I can imagine that if you get a cut, a boo-boo, or whatever, then who do you go to?
Well, I just doctor myself, but
Yeah.
it's not always an advantage to having somebody like me on board because
No.
A, he does not follow medical advice, and B, he doesn't always want to hear the medical advice.
Well, first, I'm a guy, so that says it all
Yes.
right there. But two, she's not. Her bedside manner at times is, I question it. I've been to hospitals and medical practices. Nurses were a lot nicer than
Oh yeah.
my own.
Yeah.
But it is really handy to have her, in the rig 24/7 with me.
Well, I expect those other nurses with excellent bedside manner don't have history with the patient. So I'm
Yes.
sure that if I were to get hurt, she would be just nothing but a sweet angel to me.
Right.
But
Everyone loves me.
Yeah, well, you are spot on.
They also did what I said. So see, there was a little back and forth that went
yes,
on.
yes,
Yeah.
quid pro quo. Do what I say, and all will be well.
That's
Yeah.
right. See, we would get along great.
Oh, so we could go on to this comedy routine for a while, but let's get back to life on the on the road in an RV. So first of all, thank you for your service, both in the Navy, both of you, and for serving in medical. I mean, it takes a certain person to devote their life into service of others. So on behalf of myself and everyone listening, thank you for the choices that you've made.
Thank you very much.
But speaking of the choices that you've made, at one point you said, let's get rid of all of our stuff. Let's get rid of our house and let's go live in that thing. And that seemed like a really good idea. Tell me about that moment.
That's funny you bring that up or you mention that because I finished my last tour overseas before I retired. And when I came home, Stacy said, I've been thinking about downsizing. What about a tiny home? And I said, no way, can't do it. And then she mulled that over for a while. And then she said, well, how about an RV? And I said, yeah, that I could probably do. And she said, well, it's the same thing. What's the difference? And I said, well, in an RV, the walls open. We have more room. In a tiny home, they don't open. So I would feel claustrophobic. So we started down that path. We did our homework for 2 years almost. And we found our current rig, which is a 2016 Tiffin Allegro red diesel motorhome, 35 foot. And as soon as I found it, I said, this is the one. I just had to convince Stacy. So once she found it or she saw it, then she was like, okay, we were going to just look. When we found her, we weren't going to buy. We were just going to look.
It was still a little early.
Yeah.
Our son was getting ready to join the Navy himself. So, we had a little time. The house wasn't on the market. We were still purging. So, I didn't want to jump too soon.
Yeah, but we found a great deal when we found Ruby is what we call her. And we bought her. It became real once she was sitting in our driveway. Then we had to jump into action. Our son decided he was going to join the Navy. So we were like, okay, our timeline just sped up. So we, between the time we bought the RV and sold our house was about 6 months.
Yeah. Now, mind you, our mothers were like, you are not selling that house.
Yeah.
So, of course, their generation, your house is your security. It's your safety. It's what you work your whole life for. And we got rid of ours. So they were very nervous. Now they kind of see what our goal was, but they were really nervous for us.
Yeah, there are some, that would be a great discussion someday to have about the generational perspectives on,
Mhm.
people who went through the early part of the 20th century saved everything because you never knew. And
Right.
Right.
these days, we're trying to shed everything because we want to live our life before we're too old or too unable to go live our life, which could be a theme for
Absolutely.
this is go live your life.
Yeah,
Right.
spot on. And we decided that doing it now while we could, we had the means to do it, we had the time to do it, was the perfect time for us.
Yeah.
And we meet people just about every day, and they're like, "Oh, one of these days I want to do that." And that's why Stacy's shirt says it
Yeah.
all. Today
Today is
is someday.
someday.
And
Yes.
people
And
say
we're
someday
we're
I'm
going
going
to
to do.
dive into that topic in a minute.
Yeah, and it's we've heard from people that we've helped convince to do it now. They were like they started following us and they started listening to our story, and they were like, why can't we do it now? Let's do it. And they found a way to do it. And for us, that's the best compliment we can get
Yeah.
from doing the channel.
Yeah. And I'm going to put a pin in that because I want to explore that in depth. But before we do, with all of the time you've spent on Navy boats, whatever
Ships,
size they were,
ships.
ships, um, I'm 6'5". I don't think they build Navy ships for people like me, and definitely not submarines. But when it comes to RVs, what, how are they different? How are they similar from your experiences?
Mm.
Well, for your size, I would recommend an aircraft carrier, and I've been on a couple of those.
And
Um,
camp outside.
right. Um, you know, you got to do your homework up front. We tell people, especially folks that are tall like you. Stacy's 5 foot, so she has no problem
No
going
problem.
in any RV at any time. But you have to get in them. You have to, jump in. For you, you'd have to get in the shower, see if you fit in the shower. If
Yes.
you didn't, that's a deal breaker. So, um, you know, being on a ship and being in an RV, you have the same creature comforts. I mean, you have we call it a rack. We have our rack in the back.
Yeah.
It's just bigger than what would be on a ship. But ship life for both of us, because we were both on Navy ships at different time, taught us, that smaller spaces
Hmm.
are perfectly fine. We can
Hmm.
do everything we need to do in a smaller space. On a ship, you're not going to have everything that you would have at your house.
Right.
When we sold our sticks and bricks and we downsized from 3,000 square feet to about 300 square feet, we still had everything that we would have had in our house. So it's for us, it's just been a great lifestyle.
Yeah, and it's amazing when you realize all that stuff you thought you needed, you don't really need. And I mean, when we were purging, we pulled stuff out of cabinets. I'm like, when did I get this? Why do I have it? And how much money did I waste buying all this stuff? It's just crazy.
Yeah, we had boxes in the attic that hadn't been opened from two previous moves, when we transferred within the Navy. So
Hmm.
it just became stuff.
Yeah.
And she kept telling me over and over, it's just stuff. We can replace it. Because I wanted to hold on to my man cave and my 3-car garage.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yep.
when
My
she
tools,
finally,
my toys.
yeah,
Yes,
she said,
yes.
we can get more stuff later. We'll downsize, and we can get all of that stuff back. And now we've been on the road 4.5 years. We don't even miss that stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, if we were to move into a tiny home today, we'd probably be perfectly fine. Well,
Well,
she
and
would.
and and we're going to
But
segue into this topic today someday. But the last little question on this is: I know people who keep stuff because they hold memories, and I feel differently. I talk to those people that I know that are in my life, my family members. The memory is still there.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a thing. You're
yeah,
using this thing to trigger the memory, but that memory is still inside you. Why do we need this thing to remember? Um,
Yeah.
Especially now that all of our we can digitize all of our photos. It can go down
yeah.
memory lane. But what do you say to those people who just hold on to those memories?
Well, there's an easy thing to do, and we've recommended it to a lot of people. whether it's a shirt, because people have memories of shirts or furniture, or go and take a picture of yourself with that item and make your own scrapbook and put why you love it. Write down your memory. And that book of memories really is something that you can pass on. It's going to mean more to your family or your kids, that story about that item, whether grandma gave it to you or, whatever history comes with that item, than the shirt itself, because your family are not going to understand why you kept that shirt. But if you
Right.
have a book that tells the story of your life and why it was important to you, that's something that you can pass on. That's something your family will cherish. So I
Yeah.
think that's a great way to hold on to those memories, but also tell your story at the same time.
And so that is just preparing us for all those people who are on that precipice. They have the desire, but there's just that
Yeah,
thing, that veil that holds us back. So purging is a step.
hard.
Committing is a step. Telling everyone in the world, this is what we are going to do. So now you have to be accountable as a step. Starting a blog, starting a YouTube video
Yeah,
with 158,000 subscribers is a step. But getting to that point where you make that step, you take that step of faith, and in your words on your T-shirt, today is someday.
yeah.
Unpack that for me. What do you make of that? What does that mean to you?
So for me, what today is someday means, it really is, we are a country who we dream. We are always dreaming about something in our lives, whether it's graduating from college, having a baby, traveling, no matter what it is, we all have these dreams, but it seems like for most of us, all we do is dream about them. We don't take the steps necessary to accomplish our goals. And so today is someday to me means taking those steps to accomplish that dream and that goal. It doesn't mean maybe I'm leaping off today and today's the day it starts, but every day I do something to help me accomplish that dream. And for us, it was a 2 years that it took us to purge, get our son ready, have him go off to join the Navy, and we worked toward that dream. It wasn't just, oh, someday. That someday became a thing because every day, I purged another drawer, or I purged a closet, or we were saving money like crazy. So every day we did something to help us accomplish that great dream. So I really believe, and I know it sounds so cliche, if you can dream it, you can accomplish it. And you just have to write down the steps. What do I need to do to accomplish this? And every day you do a little bit to get you there.
And it seems to me, I'm envious of those families that travel around in an RV with small kids. So
Right.
they're not waiting until
Right.
it's convenient when all the kids are gone. They've made that step. They've taken that leap of faith, and it seems so. Oh my gosh, how do you do this? How do you school? How do you whatever? There are so many questions, but the only answer is, from my perspective, is to take that step and
Yeah.
figure it out, because it's
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
figure outable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have friends that are doing just that. They're
Hmm.
they're full time on the road with their kids, and they're making it work. And our one regret that we often say is we wish we would have done this with
When
our
the
two
kids were
kids,
little. Yeah.
so they could experience this. And being in the military and being gone all the time, when I was home and we took a vacation, it was a week or 2 weeks. We
Yeah.
just didn't have the time to do that.
Yeah.
So when people reach out to us and they say, today was the day I started this, or today was the day I realized I have to change something.
Yeah.
That's fuel for our creative fire to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah. And everybody someday is different. So it
Yeah.
doesn't have to mean RVing.
No.
It's whatever
Yep.
you are dreaming of. And we've gotten so many emails from people, like you said, they finally retired, they lost 60 pounds. And it's just amazing how, when you see that today is someday, it's like, what are we waiting for? Why are we waiting? It's just crazy. And
Yeah. And
I'm glad people are taking the leap, because that leap can be really scary, but you never know unless you try.
oh, we didn't know what we didn't know when we jumped into this, and we'd never RV'd. We never owned an RV. We barely
Camped
camped
when we were
when we
kids.
were kids. I mean, we did, but it wasn't like today's camping. And people say, well, that's got to be extremely scary to do this. Absolutely, it
Absolutely.
was. We dreamed of traveling. We love to travel, And we were always, our travel was jump on a plane, go
Hmm.
somewhere, see and do everything you can in a week and come home.
Yeah.
Now, now it's our home, and it's the vehicle that's propelling us around the country. And it just, today is someday, transfers over so many different swim lanes, if you will, or genres. It truly is an amazing. Those three words really hit home with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's amazing just from my own experiences trying to follow in the same mentality. It's amazing how freeing that becomes. I've
Mhm.
got a Teddy Roosevelt Man in the Arena in my office, just as a reminder of, and for anyone who doesn't know, look it up. It's very motivational, but he describes that it's far better to be that man in the arena marred by blood and dust and sweat rather than being just an onlooker watching to see what this guy does. It's better to be in the arena. Um, and to me, that kind of uh, infiltrates other areas of life. That
Yeah.
when you adopt that mindset, when you take that step and you commit and you realize how easy it is to make awesome mundane. I mean, how cool is that to your mundane ordinary life is just awesome by everyone else's standards.
Yeah, and we get all the time, oh, I'm so jealous of what you're doing, and I'd love to do that, and we always ask them, return the question and go, well, what are you waiting for? What's holding
Yeah.
you up from doing this?
Yeah.
And it's, oh, I have this, and oh, I have that. Well, we did too.
Yeah.
We had those exact
Yeah.
same things,
Yeah.
and we just knew, when we started doing our homework, that okay, we had to prioritize things. We had to, like Stacy said, purge a drawer at a time, a
Yeah.
room at a time. It was baby steps at first, but we put it in motion. And that's what a lot of people that they have a hard time doing, is putting it in motion.
Yeah. But I think if it's really important to you, you do it. I mean, you make the sacrifices. I mean, there are things you have to give up in order to make something else happen. And so you really just have to prioritize what's the most important to you. And for us, traveling was the most important thing.
Yeah.
And we could not own a home and purchase this RV and spend all this money on travel. So there had to be give and take. So we sold the house, the money's in the bank. If we ever decide this life isn't for us anymore, we can go buy another house. Houses aren't going anywhere, they're always there. So I think just figure out what your priorities are and what you need to do to make it happen. And I don't know, we did, and it was the best decision we ever made.
Hey, business owners, are you interested in earning extra revenue? Harvest Hosts is a platform that connects over 200,000 RVers to local businesses for overnight stays. The model is simple. Hosts open up a space for RVers to park for one night, and in turn, travelers spend money at the business. And there's no cost to be a host. In fact, hosts make an average of $15,000 in extra revenue every year and meet some amazing folks. Visit harvesthost.com/hosts to get started today. And that's fantastic. I love that story. And so not only are you serving those people by inspiring them to, it's okay to purge. It's okay to sell your house. It's okay to take that step that seems scary,
There's that,
because
yeah.
after that first step, it gets easier and it gets better.
Yes,
Mhm.
But
absolutely.
how? But you're also serving, from what I can tell, you're also serving people in other ways, particularly veterans. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me,
Yeah.
tell
100%.
me, tell me about that.
So okay, so we're both waiting for the other one.
Yeah.
Here,
This really
Stacy,
is
you go first.
okay.
Yes.
This really is a true passion of ours, and it has evolved since we hit the road. We always knew that if we ever had a platform, that we would always be cheering for our veterans and rooting them on. As you know, we're both veterans. My son-in-law's a veteran. He just got out of the Navy after 8 years. My son is active duty. Really, I mean, we bleed blue and gold. I mean, we are Navy to the core, and we love our veterans, and we know there are serious needs with our veterans. So we just started small with, t-shirt sales. We've done auctions. We've done giveaways. We've done all kind of things, and to date we have raised over $120,000 for several veteran charities, and we're not stopping. I'm already planning an online auction that will be in November, and I mean, our community, it's not us. I mean, we are the vehicle, but we aren't raising, we aren't donating the money all ourselves. We donate as much as we can, but our community has rallied around us and they are cheering for our veterans. And every time we have something come up, we just get the greatest response from our communities. They are also dedicated to our veterans. They want to give back, and we're just providing them an avenue to do that.
And I've said for a while now, if our channel went away tomorrow, we would still bang the drum for our veterans
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much need still to be found out there for our veterans. And we have a lot of folks that follow us that have no affiliation with the military, but their grandfather or their great uncle served, so they feel a connection there. We do have a huge military following.
Mm-hmm.
And it's there's in the military there's great banter that goes back and
Yeah.
forth between the branches, so that also gets people excited when we're trying to raise money for a veteran charity. One service tries to outdo the other service, so then it
Yeah.
becomes an inter-service competition. But at the end of the day, everybody's a winner. The veterans are the one who are benefiting greatly. And when Stacy finds the charity, she runs that charity to the ground to make sure that it's a fit for what we're trying to do,
Yeah.
because we want most of the money to go to the veterans, and that's what happens. None of the money comes to us. It goes straight through those charities that
Mm-hmm.
Stacy
Mm-hmm.
finds. And it has been just an unbelievable 3 years, I guess, since we started doing that,
Yeah.
that our voice has helped raise that money.
Well, and then let me ask you this. I think most of us, if not all of us who would be listening or watching this, has an idea. Maybe not a perfect clarity of what it's like for veterans to come home, but I think we have an idea. Maybe it's from movies, maybe it's from stories, maybe we don't know. What are some of these challenges that our veterans, our Americans that are serving overseas, what are some of these challenges that they are dealing with that they need someone's help like yours and mine and everyone's?
It's definitely vast. I think one of the biggest things, and one of our main charities is Homes for Our Troops, and they help fit these veterans into homes to make them more accessible. So these are veterans with serious injuries. They've lost limbs. They have major head injuries. So these veterans go home to their homes and their wheelchairs won't fit through the doors. They can't access their cabinets. So it's a real burden on not just them, but their caregivers, their families, the financial costs that's with their recovery. So these homes are built for these veterans, and literally it changes their lives. Spouses are able to back to work or go back to school because the veterans are better able to take care of themselves with little things like doorways they can get through, generators in case the power goes out, and that way their oxygen machines or their wheelchairs can still be charged. It's upper cabinets they can reach. They can get their wheelchairs underneath the sinks. It's all of those little things that we don't think about that changes their lives. And it's not just the physical, it's also the emotional and
Mm-hmm.
the mental. There's a lot of trauma, emotional trauma, that goes on when obviously when you're battling in a war. You do things that people don't want to think about. Well, they come home with all that. So
Mm-hmm.
it is up to us to take care of them and make sure they have, I'm going to start getting emotional, but there are a lot of needs, and the government doesn't always is not always able to provide every service member what they need. So I think they work hard for us, so we need to give back and take care of them.
Yeah, the adaptive homes make them feel like they can do things on their own, and that's what they really want. They want to be able to do the things on their own.
And take care of themselves.
And the good thing with Homes for Our Troops is one of our main charities is they stay with the veteran. They don't just give them the house and they're done with it. They stay with the veteran. They work with the family. If there's something that needs to be changed in the house, for whatever reason, they come in and change it in that house and every other house that they've built. So it's like Stacy said, the veterans, they put their life on the line, whether they did 4 years, whether they did 20 years. They put their life on the line. They suffered some type of loss, and it is in our best interest to take care of them. They raised
Yes.
their hand and said, "I will serve." We have to take care of them. So our voice is just that, to help raise awareness for veterans, let people know that they're still they still need help when they come home. And for us, we wear red shirts every Friday.
Hmm.
And red stands
Mm.
for Remember Everyone Deployed. And what's really cool about it is if we're with a group of friends, they're wearing red shirts as well. And they know how important it is to us to wear red on Fridays. And they hold us accountable. And they remind us, hey, it's Friday, make sure you're wearing your red. And we go out somewhere. And if there's a group of us and all in red shirts, that piques people's interest. They're like, why is that whole group wearing red? Because the shirts don't say specifically, there are shirts that do, but ours don't. And we tell them it's Red Friday. And
Yes.
then they're like, oh, that's a great thing. And then they jump on board. So the Red Fridays have kind of spread as well. And it's just every little bit helps our veterans.
Yeah. And we just want everyone to have it in their forefront. Just remember every day is a blessing,
Yeah.
and we have to be grateful for our veterans because it's because of them that it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to make this statement against better ideas, but I spent 8 years as an ocean lifeguard. I spent 8 years volunteer and paid in a fire department. I've got brothers and cousins that were fire and or police, and it is not a one for one comparison to military. And I'm not even trying to go there. All I'm trying to point out is I do appreciate what veterans have to come home with from
Yeah.
personal experience, from stories that I know, from veterans that have come home, and I've gotten a window into what their life is like. There are things in ordinary life, let alone in war or emergency services, that you cannot unexperience, you cannot unsee, and they will forever
Hmm.
affect you. Now here I am,
Absolutely.
all getting all kind
Yeah.
of going there
Well,
too.
you're
But
spot
it's
on.
true, and
Yeah.
that's just why we talk about our veterans. We do not want them forgotten. So if you take anything away from what we're talking about today, is don't forget our veterans. Sorry about that. if you
Phones for
if
you.
you see someone in uniform, say thanks. If I love when we meet veterans from even 20 years ago, are older than us, because they didn't get what we are giving now. My dad, he was in Vietnam, and he was spat on at the
Oh,
airport. So I think we have really turned the corner in this country. I think we need to keep beating the drum. We need to keep remembering what they are doing every day for us.
Yeah.
and I bring up that comment that I made too, kind of following what you're saying, is not everyone's going to understand. Not
Right.
Right.
everyone's not everyone's going to agree. I mean, you mentioned
And that's
in the
okay too.
70s of Vietnam, and that is okay. But by all means, please appreciate what
Yeah.
these men and women have done, what they're coming home with,
100%.
and yeah. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No,
It
it's
means the world to us.
yeah, it does. And when we run into the Vietnam era folks, I thank them for paving the way for today's military,
Yep.
because they had to endure what they did for us to be able to get to where we are
Mm.
today. And
And we've
it,
learned a lot, and we've
yeah,
come a long way. And I think that's the important thing. Just keep learning from our mistakes and move forward. And this is something we can all get together and help out with. So even if you don't donate to us, there's always outreach out there. There's a ton of veterans programs. So just figure out what you can do to help, even if it's buying someone a dinner when you see them out and about. So there's always something we can do to say thank you.
And thank you. That's a perfect segue. I was just going to say, how could people reach out to support what you're doing or something else? If today is someday to get in that RV and drive away, if today is someday to finally support something that you've been thinking about for years, for months, weeks, days, today is someday to do it. How can they do it?
So if they want to support the veterans, obviously there's a lot of programs out there, but for us specifically, we do have t-shirt sales on our website. Phil's wearing one of our veteran shirts. We donate $2 for every shirt sold. We also have hats. that we donate from. And then anytime we have any kind of other t-shirt sales, we always donate a portion. We also we are going to be having an online auction coming up in November, and that's going to include RV companies. You're going to be shocked when you see all the companies. I can't speak of it yet, but it's coming. It's going to be big. So that's another way. All proceeds will be going to our veterans. So there's definitely with us, there's a lot of stuff going on. So just head to our channel and just listen. It's coming.
Yeah, our website is todayissomeday.net.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to remember, and there's information on our charities, our storefront that we have that supports veterans, anything that we're going to be doing in the future, like the auction Stacy was talking about. So anyone interested in anything that we're doing can find it at todayissomeday.net.
Yeah. And so to kind of finalize this with some more lighthearted, fun questions, I know before, we all need tissues. It's what have been some of your favorite places that you visited and why?
Gosh, that's always such a hard question because you love places for different reasons.
Yeah.
But I have to say, we'll see if we're both the same. My favorite place to date is going to be Yosemite. So we sat outside Yosemite. We were on the east side of Yosemite for 3 weeks. We were only scheduled to be there for a week, but our first day there, a bear actually broke into our Jeep and busted out our windows. So it forced us to stay 3 weeks. And let me tell you, it was even with the bear, it was the best experience. It really is the most peaceful place I've ever been.
And we did it.
That's because there are hoodlums everywhere, even in Yosemite. They're just bigger and furrier, right?
Yes.
And we did it all on our own power. We were self-contained. I mean, we had no hookups, no water, no electric. We had it all on board, and we were able to squeak out 24 days of sitting there outside Yosemite. And it really was
so it's just so beautiful and
relaxing. The area was just a beautiful part of the country that we had never seen before. So that made it even more interesting. But aside from the bear break-in, that probably hands down is our
favorite place.
And that may be one of the better stories you get to tell is that we were robbed at gunpoint by a bear.
They went after gum and toothpaste. That's all we had in the car, and it busted in the window.
I tell people that we found the only bear that had bad breath and chapped lips because that's what he went in for. But aside from that and having to sit there, and we got the Jeep fixed while we were there outside Yosemite. So that's what kept us there. But if you haven't been to Yosemite, why not?
There's some special magic in that place for sure.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
What is one place, if you could drive your RV anywhere in the world, because this is a what if question, if you could drive your RV anywhere in the world to a dream location you have not been yet, where is that place?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know.
Well, if she had pontoons, we could get her across the pond.
Yeah. We could go to Europe, huh?
Yeah.
Although this rig's a little big for Europe. I don't know. The thing, so we've been doing this for 4 years now. And the thing we've learned is you don't know what's there until you get there. So even though, yes, I mean, we took a trip to Hawaii without the RV for 30 days. That was great. We do have future plans of going to Europe. But even here in the U.S., it is amazing the small towns, the cities, the national parks, the state parks that we would have never knew existed without this life. Because when you have the house and you only have 2 weeks a year, you go for the great big trips, right? You don't think about all the little hidden gems. And there are some amazing hidden gems in this country. Quiet little state parks. I mean, we were just in Creed, a quiet little old mining town, and it was amazing. So I think it's really hard to say where would you go because we haven't been there yet. So we can't really answer that question. I know it's kind of a strange way to answer it, but it's true because the discovery is the best part of the process.
Well, that's a great answer. Usually, when I ask a question of that nature, I get a very diplomatic answer that people don't want to answer it. I like your answer because it's the adventure that is right around the corner. Hopefully, maybe we don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
And we've been pleasantly surprised in some locations where we were like, that doesn't seem like there's a lot to do. Then you get there, and then you get to experience the small town part of things. You
Yeah.
know, where you go down Main Street and you see the town square and how it used to be. You know, those quaint little
Yeah.
cities and towns that people knew each other. You get that feel when you're in those places. So yeah, it really is, you know, just an unexpected find whenever we do land
Yeah.
someplace.
And
Yeah.
if you really want to dive in, then you ask the bartender or the pizza girl or at the coffee shop, ask them, what do you do? Or what's your favorite part of your town? Or what's the one thing we can't miss while we're
Right,
here? And
right.
that's when you really dive into your location because they always know all the best spots.
And that's great because you also, by asking that question, you kind of force that person that you're talking to remember why they love that town,
Yeah.
especially if it's small town and they're a younger person who want to get out into the great big world. You know, it reminds them why they love this town.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's really
absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
You know, I would imagine that because you guys are on the road so much and it's just the two of you, um, that you know it's kind of hard to make connections. At least I would surmise, but I don't believe that's actually the case. So what I'm really asking you is, do you have it? What are your tips on how to build an RV community that lasts?
So we are all about community. I think that the RV community is the best part of our journey. And we didn't know that when we hit the road. I mean, we were in suburbia. We worked, I worked 12, 18 hours a day, would enter the garage, close the garage door, and close my community away from me. Now it's totally different. And I know people are nervous about hitting the road because they're afraid they'll be lonely, but we believe, and we've proven you do not have to be lonely on the road. So
No.
when we first started, we met our core group, and we have a core group. There's 4 couples who we met at Nomad Fest. And for all of us, we were brand new on the road. We just started RVing, and basically we met at a rally and made the connection. And as a matter of fact, we're still hanging out with one of those couples right now we're RVing with. And that really started our quest for community and to help others find community. So that really is a goal of ours. And we do have the Someday Crew, which is our own community, and it is flourishing. People are doing meetups all over the country with us, without us. They're caravanning together. And I think that really you just have to put yourself out there, meet your neighbor, talk to your friends at a rally, do an event, and you're going to meet a ton of people.
Yeah, and that's a you know, a burning question that we get asked a lot is, you know, how do you meet people out on the road? I'm nervous to get out there and not have any friends and not meet people.
Yeah.
And you know, we tell people all the time, if you want to meet your neighbors at a campground, put out an extra chair or go on the roof of your
Yeah.
RV. Everybody comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
Um,
going on up there?
Go to
I
a
wouldn't do
rally,
that if I were you. I'd do it
Yes,
this way.
yes.
attend a rally, and you just start gravitating towards
Yeah.
people. Talk to your neighbors around you. You know, we took the leap when we, with the couple that we're traveling with right now, we met them 4 months on the road for us, 2 weeks for them. And it was in a RV social media site that I had posted something like, we're here at this park. They responded, and it was kind of, hey, they're right over there. I drug Stacy over there to meet
Okay,
him.
I'm a recovering introvert. Just so you know.
So,
So
but
it what he literally drugged me over there kicking and screaming because I'm like, this is creepy. We would never do
yeah,
this. But I mean, it's one of those things where you have to take the risk to get the
we
reward.
did
Yeah.
everything we told our kids not to do. Do not
Yes.
meet people on the internet. Don't date on
Stranger
the
danger. Stranger danger.
Go to
internet.
somebody's house.
Exactly, and we did that. And you know, for us, the like Stacy said, the RV community is the best part of our
Mhm.
RVing lifestyle, and we have so many people that have connected with others within our channel
Yeah.
group, within
Yeah.
our own community group. It's just amazing that if you know, you're only a phone call away from anybody that you meet on the road
Yes.
that will offer assistance, that is there to help you. I mean, we got an email just yesterday with somebody that said, without your channel, we would not have been able to do what we do and then meet the couple that now we call our best friends out on the road. So stories like that just, they keep us going. They,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
they invigorate the story and the process that we have with the channel.
I think
No, that's
making friends in the RV community is the easiest way to make friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Get out
because
and get
everyone's
out.
happy.
Yeah,
Well,
No,
yeah,
no
yeah,
one's in a cubicle.
that's right. That's right. People,
They're living their
RVers have
best life.
RVers have time, and a lot of RVers are looking
yeah,
for the
for that
community.
connection.
They want that connection. They want to do more than just go from park to park and sit. They want to interact with people. They want to
Yeah.
travel with people, and it's really really great when we hear those stories of connections.
That's great. Well, the last big question I have, and it's a really important one. I think I would imagine a lot of people want to know this, and maybe they've been afraid to ask. Maybe you have different advice on this, but so I'm going to ask you to just be
Wow.
real, be honest with me. It's just the three of us in a microphone, no one else. What is your advice for couples on how to remain a couple while living in an RV? And
Okay,
and
so
and, and out of respect and intelligence, Stacy, I'm going to ask
no,
you to go first.
it
Yes,
is. It
yes,
is. This is a true thing.
yeah.
I mean, in this much space. So number one, I always say, love is not enough. You actually have to like each other. You have to want to be in the same space all the time. That's the first thing, and then really just having your own outlet. And when I say outlet, your own space, because the reality is when we're working our 9 to 5 jobs, we're away from our spouse more than we're together. So now you're changing that whole world and you're together 24/7. And for us, I mean, right before we hit the road, Phil was literally deployed for 18 months. So we went from FaceTiming twice a
Twice a day.
day
Yep.
to I can't get out of his face at all because we're always together. So I think really remembering you and doing what you love as well as doing stuff together. So for me, it's my audiobooks, it's reading, it's putting in my headphones, going for a walk. And for Phil, it's still his sports and what else do you do?
I don't
No,
know.
it's
When I need a moment, I suddenly remember a thing in the garage that needs fixing
yes.
right away. So, where's your quote unquote garage these days, Phil?
Well, I'm sitting in it. I mean, my RV. There's things that always need to be done to the RV. Whether I'm cleaning it, whether I'm repairing
Yeah,
something, or I'm
tweaking some
swapping out a
outside.
filter or something. I spend a lot of my time outside. So luckily for us, our RV has 4 TVs, so I can sit outside with one of them, and we're separated. We have I can watch sports outside, and I'm not bothering her while she's working on a video or whatnot. But the other thing is, we've been together over 30 years. We've been married 30 years this
We
year,
survived.
which is an anomaly nowadays. I mean, to have couples stay together that long, and all the couples that we met in the beginning were in the same, it's the same story. Been together 30, 40 years. So we know each other's quirks. We know how to push each other's buttons. We do argue. We do,
Yeah.
have those squabbles that couples have. But like Stacy said, you have to really like who you're traveling with. And you have to know those zones and those boundaries. And we've had to learn, on the fly to adjust. And if I'm overboard, which sometimes, okay, 95% of the time I am, then Stacy puts me in my place and everything's good.
It's really, it's compromise. It's
Yeah,
with everything. So
yeah,
there's give and take, and some things you have to let go. I might have been a little more uptight than I am right now, and it's not so important to have the glass facing the way I want it in the cabinet. So some things you just have to let go and just worry about what's really important, and that's
yeah.
all the time you get to spend together to do the things you love the most. And
I call it right now, I'm getting back, or we're getting back all that time that was lost during my career in the Navy. All the deployments, all the underways on the ships, all the time away for training. We're getting that back. But it's those little things, and we're getting back that time lost, and it's absolutely been the best thing for us as a couple.
but it's not perfect, so it's just you just take all the stuff from the house and you just put it in a smaller space, so whatever stuff you have, and we all have our own baggage, you're going to put it in, and it's going to be confined in 300 square feet, so you can't go stomp off to the bedroom and slam the door, like, not that anybody here would do that, so there's no door to slam.
Well, yeah, because then Phil's gonna have to go fix it.
Right,
Right,
right, it'll
right.
probably come off the hinges or
The back
something.
door behind us right now, it's a sliding door. It doesn't have the same effect when you
No,
go to
no,
close
no,
it. So
doesn't make you feel better.
no, but we
Just need
got
an air horn. I'm angry.
well, I do like my air horn.
Air
But
when we're driving.
the comments we started getting early on with the channel was, "We love you guys because you're real," and I didn't understand what that meant at first. And then after talking to people, and they said, "You guys are the same in person as you are on your channel. What we see on TV." And I say we never intended to be anything but us. We're not a professional in anything other than maybe beer drinking and eating.
Yeah,
Maybe.
pretty good at it.
We're pretty good
Yeah,
at that.
thumbs up for that.
But we're just who we are, and we're not trying to be anybody else. We're Phil and Stacy, and this is who we've always been. I can talk to a tree for 4 hours and hold a conversation, where Stacy would like to sit inside in peace. But we love getting out and interacting now, even more. So it's just something that's evolved with us over the 4 years. We had to adjust a little bit, but we're loving it.
Great. I appreciate all that. Thank you very much for that. It's just, you just kind of proved the point that I believe was true, is that people need to hear this. They want to see the reality of what it is, so that they can hopefully take that step. Is there anything that you guys would like to add or say before we can close this out?
I think we hit most of the highlights.
Yeah,
Can you think of anything?
Well, we would just really like to thank everybody that has given us a chance. If they've listened to or watched a video and something has hit home with them, we appreciate the support across the board, whether it's just watching us on YouTube, whether it's purchasing a shirt so that proceeds go to the veterans. We appreciate everything, and it never started out that way, and it quickly became that. So we had to adjust to that as well. But we truly, truly appreciate any support that we get with the charities and the channel.
Great. Thank you very much, you guys. I appreciate this.
Thank you. We
Thank
had a
you.
great
This was
time.
I appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedules.
Love it. Love it.
Today was laundry day, so I'm in the middle of doing laundry. So that's my new goal.
Well, thank you. I'll let you get back to it.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Jeremy.
Have a great day.
Calling all RVers. We've partnered with amazing brands like Brooklyn Bedding, Road Pass, Empire Covers, and a whole lot more to get our fans incredible savings on their wish list items. Are you ready to finally hit purchase on that item you've been hovering over? Our exclusive RV travel coupon booklet will get that final price where you want it. So download the link in our description box below to start saving.
I'm Dan Hunt with my incredible wife, Patty Hunt, from the RV Life podcast with your tips on staying warm through the winter.
Today, we're going to give you tips to stay warm if you choose to stay in those cold weathers, climates. First tip, insulated thermal curtains. These are probably the greatest. We changed out all the curtains in our RV, took all those balances out, and it's really made a difference.
Now, I'll tell you what, we bought these curtains as we were heading towards Washington in the month of February. Not a great place to be in the month of February. It was cold, but these curtains, you can see them right behind you here. We bought them at all places, Costco.
And they still have them. The nice part is we have, I think, 8 windows in the RV, and they all cost about $200 for all of them. So
all
it was
of them.
Great.
All right, so let's move on to our second tip. And this is a tip not for the inside of the RV, but it's for the outside of the RV. And that is fuel additive. Now, it doesn't matter what kind of RV you drive. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Doesn't matter what you drive. There is a fuel additive that stops the liquid or the water that's in your fuel from freezing. It is a absolutely great thing. And guess what? They have it for gas engines too.
The only thing worse than being cold on the inside is trying to start your RV or your truck and it not wanting to start. We know that feeling, being in Colorado on the coldest day in 125 years. We froze, and so did the RV. So from now on, we add that diesel additive.
Now, our next tip brings us back inside the RV, and this is just an incredible, easy thing to do that anybody can do. And it involves insulation, foam insulation, just like this.
And that we put in all of the cabinets. Now we have a Class A Monaco cabinets all throughout the unit, and having these inside the cabinets really makes a difference.
Now, the other thing that you want to make sure of is if you do this and you have slide outs, you want to make sure you insulate the top of the slide out, because there's just a little teensy piece of metal and wood between you and the outside with that. So insulating those cabinets in the back, it's easy to do, it's very inexpensive, and anybody can do it.
The next thing, because we have an older unit, we do not have heated floors. And believe me, heated floors are a top priority for me. But instead of the heated floors, we do use a space heater. This small space heater really works well. So if we're in the front of the cabin, we close the door, we put the space heater on, it makes a big difference, as well as when we go to bed at night, we put it in the back, and it really helps keep us warm.
I got to tell you, this space heater we got on Amazon for less than $40. Less than $40. When we were in Washington State in February, I don't know why we were there, but we were. When we were in Washington State in February, we just closed the back, put this thing on, and we were toasty all night long.
Yes.
Now, Patty, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Why do ducks fly south?
Because
in the winter.
It's too cold.
Because it's too cold. That's exactly right. So if you are a duck and you go south, you follow the sun, that is a great thing to do if you live in an RV. Now, if you are stubborn and you are not a duck, you're going to stay in the northern area, and it is going to be very, very cold. So our last tip today is, we saw this at the Hershey RV show. It's called air skirts. And these things are these big blow-up tubes that you actually put underneath your RV. And they just work.
They're inflatable as opposed to blow up, but they really do work. They surround your whole RV. They're made for each different kind of unit that you have. They even have small triangular shapes to block the air from coming in where the tires are. So think about all the air from underneath your unit being blocked out. These are a great option for those of you who like staying in the cold weather.
Those are the stubborn ones. We are in Pennsylvania right now. It's October, and it's getting cold, so we're about to head down south, where we will stay warm for the winter. But if you're going to be in the north, take some of these tips and put them to use. I'm Dan Hunt with my incredible wife, Patty Hunt. We are from the RV Life podcast and the YouTube channel, Exploring Through Our Lens. Have a great rest of today.
And an even better day tomorrow.
Hi, my name is Carrie Price, and I'm from Denver, Colorado. My husband and I spent about 2 years RVing full-time. During that time, we went all the way from Florida to Alaska and back. Of course, Alaska was one of our favorite places. It was one of our favorite places, not just for the beauty of Alaska, but also because you can pretty much boondock anywhere you want to. The best way to find those locations is a mile-by-mile book called The Milepost. In the book, you can find boondocking locations, you can see what you're looking at, so it's a very useful tool. You can buy it on Amazon, it's updated every single year, so it's a great resource. We would constantly try to find the best boondocking location every single night. On one occasion, we wanted some reprieve from the sun, so we decided we wanted to have some shade. It can get quite hot in Alaska during the summer. So we found this little nook in the forest next to a beautiful stream, and we thought it'd be the perfect location for the night. We settled in and went to bed. During the middle of the night, I felt like something was crawling on me, but I didn't really make anything of it. A little while later, I got up to go to the bathroom. I turned on the light, and there were mosquitoes everywhere. They were all over the wall. They were all in the RV. I quickly woke up my husband and said, "Oh gosh, there are mosquitoes everywhere." So we decided to quickly try to get rid of them. It took a couple hours. Then we decided to find where they were coming from. Turns out we left our bathroom vent cracked just a little bit. And then the screen for the bathroom vent also had a little hole in it. So the mosquitoes were getting through that way. So it was quite a night for us, quite an experience. Moral of the story is definitely go to Alaska. It's very beautiful, but make sure your windows are closed tightly. And maybe not park next to a stream where mosquitoes are prevalent. Thank you for listening to Roads and Stays audio magazine, brought to you by Harvest Hosts.
Thank you for another great story from the road, and thank you for listening to the Roads and Stays audio magazine, the best 30 minutes you'll spend all day. We hope you'll rate and review this podcast and even contact us at Harvest Host to let us know what you think and what stories you might want in the future. We hope you have safe travels, and we'll see you down the road.